just like that, it's recording. I'm Rob.
I'm Grod.
John. This is Aldrin, my boy from San Fran. The first special guest of the Bastos boys. Check that out. Yes. Long story short, me and him have been friends for like a little over 10 years. We had met on NBA forums on MySpace.
Shout out to anyone who had MySpace.
And then we went from MySpace to being cool on Facebook to being on Tumblr and Twitter, and we happened to live in Washington at the same time.
It was like crazy.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
I was stationed in Washington, Tacoma.
I got my first RN job in Washington.
And we were literally a drive. But for the times that we were in this Washington together, we were only able to chill once, and that was for Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher never go back.
Special guest, and we are here for a review of the one and only Justice League movie, which was recently released. And I have to say,
hold on, non-spoiler talk.
Non-spoilers.
Non-spoiler first. I was happy, but in the great words of Jon Snow and Ned Stark, anything before the but is a bunch of horseshit. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it.
I thought it was enjoyable. It was definitely a step up for me from Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. Both movies I kind of hated. Not to lie. I was not into those movies that much. There were
I still have my Regal tag on this.
Yeah, there were things I liked about it. I thought Justice League was an improvement. They cut down the running time. It was a lot more fun. I still had some problems with it. Overall, much better than those previous DCE movies, but it's not touching like Wonder Woman or Man of Steel, which I unapologetically love. Man of Steel,
fair enough.
And Wonder Woman as well.
I felt the same way. I was thinking about this before. If you were someone who watched the DC movies and you watched like the Justice League show growing up, you will really enjoy the hell of this movie. Like, you'll really enjoy it. If you were someone who only watched the DC movies but not the Justice League, you'll still enjoy it. And if you're someone who didn't watch any of the DC movies and you're watching like Justice League and you haven't watched Wonder Woman or Batman, it's still enjoyable, but you won't appreciate it as much if you haven't seen the others. Overall, I don't want to repeat what they're saying. Good.
But in terms of a DC fan, I would say it's probably like a 9 to 10 as a DC fan, but as a moviegoer and someone who's really analytical and there's things that I kind of wanted better, a realistic score for me would probably be between a 7 and 8 out of 10.
If I had to score it, I'd probably give it like decent, probably 6. Like, it was enjoyable. I think you should go see it for yourself, decide for yourself, and it was enjoyable enough. I feel like it's like worth at least seeing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but not amazing or anything.
Yeah.
Like that, but it is still. It was way better than that. I cannot emphasize how much those movies paid.
The people who love BVS are gonna hate us now because of this comment.
Yeah, but that's a different issue. But I did enjoy Justice League a lot. Cool.
7.5 out of 10 as movie goer, as a Justice League and DC fan. I love the shit out of it. Teen Titan fan, with my man Cyborg getting the boot. Don't include that.
Are we entering the spoiler?
Yeah, I think we got
we had enough.
Yeah, we touched.
Cool.
Cool react. Good. Spoilers. Spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Green Lantern. This guy. When we saw it yesterday. Yeah. When he saw it for the first time, went nuts, and I couldn't really process it because I was just like, hold on. There's Atlanteans and there's Amazonians, humans, Green Lantern. What the fuck? Like, it was cool. I like that cameo.
So, like, you know, if you've seen it and you're watching this, Wonder Woman explains the story of Steppenwolf to Bruce, and while she's explaining that, you know, she talks about how the Atlanteans and the Amazons and probably pretty much all planet Earth united. Other worlds came to help, and then you got a glimpse of Green Lantern attacking Steppenwolf, and I lost my shit. That's probably one of the highlights.
It was very, I thought it was very Lord of the Rings-esque with
that's true.
You know, everybody that
like unification.
The Amazonians is kind of like the humans, elves, and you know, it's kind of coming together to take
the
off.
Dwarfs. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
very good.
Very Lord of the Rings-esque. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I like that.
That was cool. Another thing for me, I hope you edit this, the Cyborg, the way he was introduced, if you watched the Justice League War animated movie, I felt it was very comparable to that, where he gets his powers and then he was kind of like, what the hell? Why are you doing this to me?
He was overwhelmed with
Yeah.
what he had become.
I liked how they didn't copy it like exactly, but it's similar in that essence where he was just like, felt from what I saw, like he was like, initially he'd rather have been dead than to be a machine or half machine.
I think that's how I was able to appreciate Cyborg more, because I did see the War movie, but I didn't see I didn't watch Teen Titans.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the Teen Titan fans are actually really critical of how Cyborg was portrayed in this movie. They just weren't happy with, I guess, how he looked or his CGI. I feel at the end when his dad is pretty much reforming his armor, I feel like that's more of the Cyborg that they were expecting. But the fact that the initial Cyborg in the movie, it just wasn't like the Teen Titans one, and I know a lot of people were disappointed with that.
Right. This is like the prototype.
Yes,
Cyborg,
exactly.
Like the first version. It's like the first Iron Man suit.
Exactly.
And they wanted the second one.
Yes, right away. Exactly. That is on point. On point.
Yeah. I actually really like the intro of Cyborg, and kind of like that part where he was like, oh, you don't want to show them the monster, and he's like, you're not a monster. He's like, oh, it's funny you think I'm like I was talking about me. I sort of feel like the transition between am I a monster to I
have something
I have something to live for, and I have something to do. What could have been done a little bit better, because he immediately goes from I'm a monster to all right,
I'm a hero.
I have a meaning to this rebirth.
I really liked the introduction of like.
I thought the actor did a good job too. Just like he didn't.
Yeah, all the actors were all very
on point.
Yeah, very good casting.
Barry Allen, I think.
Oh man.
Yeah, he stole the show.
Oh
yeah.
man. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller, I feel like he did a good Barry Allen. A good DCEU Barry Allen. They weren't, because they tried too much to compare him to the Arrowverse, Grant Gustin Barry Allen. Well, while he's a good Barry Allen as well, I think Ezra Miller did just enough. He brought enough. He was like pretty much the comic relief of the movie.
Right.
He was the young gun, very curious and very. What does this button do? What does this button do?
He was like a kid.
He was a kid, basically.
All they do is push people.
Yeah, it was a good job of like a kid being thrust into this like position of like great responsibility, and he doesn't know how to like handle it.
The scene where they went like in the sewer or whatever, and he realized like what they were up against, and he was like, he had that what the fuck am I getting myself into? I thought that was like a really nice. We don't know exactly how old he is, but you can tell he's a young.
He's the youngest. Wonder Woman. Pretty much Diana Prince.
God bless Gal Gadot. God bless her.
I had my doubts with her, and I'm just so happy that she proved me wrong. She's just so exotic, and she brings that very, you're a woman, but I will listen to you, and I will go to war for you, and I will fight for you, I will die for you, like that kind of like, oh! She just brings that presence. I feel like that's how she is in No, not Fast. That's Gal Gadot. That's how Wonder Woman is in general. Wonder Woman in general is just, her presence is very commanding. While she could be very, you have to respect her because she aims to do everything right, the right way.
Ethical.
Very ethical, yes.
Moral.
Yes.
She's very charming and very charismatic. I feel
like
when you watch her, you feel good just because it's like, wow, someone's actually standing up, trying to do the right thing, and trying to be like about everything, about justice, no pun intended.
On that note, one of my favorite scenes was that dilemma they had with bringing Superman back, where Ben Affleck Batman was really like, we gotta do it, and she was like, no we don't. I know that's simplifying it. I felt that really captured their characters, I mean for me, in like the Justice League like show.
Between the shows, the movies, the comics, that's how they are.
Yeah, and
there's always one side that's like, we have to do this for the sake of mankind, and then there's another party that's like, there's another way. There's another way.
No, he's dead. Like we gotta figure it out.
We have to accept
and
it.
Especially when Bruce went as far as to say, is like, you're here. You are. You're a superhero. You have these powers, but you're hiding. It's just like ever since he mentioned Steve Trevor when he passed. You've been hiding. That tension, I felt like was, I don't know, I'm getting chills thinking about it. Like, I thought that was, I love that scene. I think for me particularly.
When Bruce admitted that Superman was more human than him to Alfred, that was like, damn. That is so, it's very Bruce Wayne-ish. Very Bruce Wayne, and you have to, like, Christian Bale was a good Bruce Wayne, he was a good Batman, but Ben Affleck he hit that one-liner, and it's like, oh, he's more human than I am. The first time I was like, oh,
I like that scene as well. I did find it a little weird. Cyborg he literally starts the movie like, "You should have just left me dead." It's a mistake bringing people back to life. And he's like, "You know what? Logically, let's just bring Superman back to life." No big deal. Like that's probably the right thing to do. I was just like, "Wait, what?" See, that's where I was kind of. They needed to transition a little more into why did he want to stay alive? Why did he want to bring Superman back?
So even if it's like, I don't want my dad to die. If you said, even if you brought up his dad on that, and he was like, if this includes my dad dying, I'm gonna do whatever I can to save him.
Yeah. So give him some motivation, some purpose to it. But
it
is pretty funny that he's just like to his dad, "Oh, it's a mistake to bring people back to life." But they're like, "Should we bring Superman back to life?" Yeah. We should totally. I thought that was kind of funny.
I originally was a little like edgy about how they brought him back like mid-movie.
Right.
You know, I actually was expecting. I was expecting Superman just to appear at the end.
I know, right? Just because at the end of for Batman v Superman, Batman v Superman. The fucking coffin shit, so it's kind of like, oh, I guess he's still alive still?
So if he was kind of still alive, why did they have to bring him back?
They have to do all that.
You writers!
Yeah, so I thought that was the whole point of the coffin shake.
You know, and I mentioned it to, I think you, this morning. I don't want to compare it to Avengers, but the build-up was just so much different because essentially it started with Man of Steel.
Right.
Yep.
Batman and Wonder Woman were introduced in BVS. In Avengers, it was each character's movie, one at a time, building up.
So you got to know them a little bit. You got to see their backstory, and
you could sense in each of those movies that there was something going on, something that was brewing, that was culminating to one bad guy.
Right.
Now, granted, the bad guy didn't show up in Avengers. Thanos, he was using somebody who was already established with Loki. I felt like Superman died. The story is Superman dies. There's an opening. We're taking Earth back Earth. Throw in Steppenwolf.
Right.
That's pretty much it. I just wish maybe he could have been brought in or hinted even more. If that's what Luthor was talking about in the end of BBS, like, oh, you know, he's coming. Speaking of Luthor,
hold on. Before we get there, we still gotta talk. To add on to that point, I think the fact with Avengers, like Black Widow and Hawkeye, they didn't have their main movies, but they aren't as prominent as Thor and Hulk. Whereas here, they introduced Flash and Cyborg and even Aquaman for the first time. Those are prominent figures in the league. So even though like Black Widow and Hawkeye didn't have their own movie per se, you can get away with that because of the fact
they're like side characters.
Exactly.
They're not the main guys.
Yeah. Whereas it's like Flash is
a big deal.
He's one of the founding members of the fucking Justice League. You know,
it's a big deal.
Yeah. So it is what it is at this point. Everyone's saying like, oh, they're trying to catch up.
Yeah, DCU. I just feel like they're doing too much. They're rushing it to catch up to the MCU, and it's kind of hurting the brand. You know, you can't really appreciate it as much. Like I hate comparing. I just hate comparing it. But the fact is, I was on edge more on Avengers. There were so many more moments where I was like, oh, come on, I was like, oh, on the edge of my seat. But in the BVS and maybe Wonder Woman and Justice League, it's like, okay, that kind of thing, you know. What else?
Steppenwolf. I know you touched on it. Truth be told, I was thinking about it while I was working out today. That the final fight scene when like Wonder Woman and Aquaman were fighting him, and then they were trying to figure it out. If I'm gonna be honest, I felt like they didn't necessarily need Superman to beat him. I felt, I felt like they could have handled it. It would have been tougher. It wasn't really manhandling them, where it was like, I'm beating them down and you can't stop me. It's like they were putting up a fight. But once Superman came in, it's like, all right, end game.
Superman is the cheat code, right?
He's
just like, it's over. Who's gonna stop me? Nobody.
So essentially, well, they did need Superman for the boxes.
Okay, all right, that's a good point.
But you're right. If they had all worked together, that could have been. I think that would have sealed the deal for me. Had they worked together, all like that 5, and because they could have beaten Steppenwolf. If they had worked together like a traditional comic, like a traditional Justice League, like a traditional war, it would have been more Justice League-esque. had they worked together versus only the ones with superpowers being able to defeat Steppenwolf. A la when freaking Ultron got the Vision, freaking hit him, and then comes in the Thor with the thunder, and then Iron Man with the thing, and then he pretty much gives up, and Hulk comes in and does one big smash.
Yeah.
You know, they were all working together. Here, it was like they needed Superman as the...
I mean, in a sense, they were still working together.
Yeah.
I just...
At that moment to defeat him.
I just think, that's a good point. They needed Superman to separate. I completely forgot about that. I just remember...
It's just like fighting stuff.
Yeah, fighting him. I'm like...
cheap to be like, well, here's Superman.
Yeah.
Now...
So, it's like, alright, we lost to the Cavaliers, but let's get Kevin Durant on our team.
Kevin Durant is basically like a Superman. This comes in super
LeBron Steppenwolf, you could beat him, but hey, KD, help us out.
Just bring him
in that case, I suppose, if you could get Superman, why wouldn't you? KD's like, hey, I want to sign with you. No, we could do it on our own. Guaranteed. Wow! Oh my god!
I just thought of that.
Did you see his shirt?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So like, you know, you touched on Steppenwolf. I think one other reason why I wanted more, and I don't like doing this, having high hopes. But when I look at the Chitauri, you know, the Avengers were kicking their ass. You didn't really see much of the Justice League fighting the Parademons as much as the Avengers were fighting the Chitauri. And that's where I was like, there was that one scene in Avengers where Captain America gave Romanov the freaking boost up. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, while she's getting control of the glider, Iron Man comes out of nowhere and starts blasting.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It pans onto him, dropping down to help Captain America shield. And then
it was one shot. It was like that one shot.
And freaking Clint was in the thing, and he dodges something, and then the big carrier comes through, and now Hulk is fighting him.
And that's the Avengers movie.
And we didn't get, like, you kind of got it with when the Batmobile was riding through, and Wonder Woman comes through and gets the Parademons off, and then Flash comes running by, and then Arthur jumps on the Batmobile and was like, yeah! And then he gets picked up by Victor Stone, and he's like, my man! And freaking he gets in it, and then that was it. That's all we see from the Justice League fighting the Parademon. I just wanted like more of fighting together and like that one big scene, one shot, and it would have been like, oh, it's
kind of like that team unity.
Yes, yes. And it didn't happen. I'm like, no.
But like on the subjects, maybe they didn't need Superman to beat him. It would have been a little weird if they made a Justice League movie and Superman was not in it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Absolutely. I just felt like if they made him seem more overbearing, overwhelming.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
like they're getting their ass.
They made it look like they could handle themselves without Superman. Yeah. Now, had Steppenwolf been a little bit more overwhelming and more overpowering, or they needed that one more piece of power just to be able to land that kill shot, and Superman glides down, and I was like, you guys need a hand, you guys, you know, and Justice League,
Then I don't know how Steppenwolf is in the comics. I don't know how powerful he really is. So we don't know. I don't know these things. So if you're watching this, and you're like, oh, he doesn't know anything. I'm like, I don't. I'm just a fan. I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my background is just kind of like I know the DC characters, but I don't.
We don't know their power levels.
We don't know their ratio of what we saw in the movie, DCEU. Hey, he made it out. He might join. You know.
Wait, hold on. Before, one more thing, because I saw this brought up a comment in either Instagram or a YouTube page. In BVS, remember Bruce had that vision where Lois is the key?
Yeah.
I read somewhere it's a theory that when they brought Superman back to life for the first time, or when they brought him back to life in this movie, when they had a hard time calming him down, and then Bruce was like, bring the big gun, and that was Lois. Yeah. And someone was saying that was the key to keep him in check, essentially.
Oh, well, I think I know what you're talking about. Maybe in an alternate universe, in a different timeline. In a different timeline, they were not able to stop Superman.
And
he became like a black Superman. And he was like a bad guy. Bruce, in his dying breath, says to Barry, "You gotta go back and tell myself that Lewis is the key, or we're never gonna beat him. We're stepping
Oh, okay.
You
I
know what
see
I mean?
you
Yeah.
mean.
So that's actually a good.
So that's that was something I was like, oh, maybe we can talk about that.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. In Batman v Superman, I was like, what the fuck is
Because-
this? I was like, who the fuck is even coming through a goddamn wall right now? I was like, what?
I had an idea that it was the Flash, but they didn't. I think they make us assume that we would get that reference. If it is,
we don't know for sure. They
That's
didn't
true.
confirm it.
Right, but that is such a good theory because we don't know what that Barry Allen was talking about in BVS.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, just to get Superman to come back to his senses. That was a really good fight though between between the Justice 5 and Superman when he just woke when he was brought back.
That was fucking hilarious with the Flash.
That scene when he was trying to run around and he turned his head.
Honestly,
Oh my god!
that was pretty funny. Yeah, I love that.
I guess that's DC's version of when Hulk lost control.
Right, and they have to
and
take him down.
They brought the big when Tony brought down the big suit. That's pretty much it.
I forgot the name. The
Big
Hulkbuster.
Hulkbuster, yeah.
But there was like he named it like a girl's
female,
name.
Yeah. One rogue member just going nuts. That was a good fight though. It was fun. That showed how actually strong and how fast Superman is. Because theoretically, I know that Superman cannot beat Flash on foot, but he can fly as fast, if not fly faster than good old.
That was a cool like mid-credit.
Yeah, that was a fun.
That was
a mid-credit scene now. Yeah.
Hold on, before that, another thing, fight scenes like I loved it. I enjoyed them. I don't have any complaints about
the characters were pretty much very Justice League-esque.
Yeah.
Batman very gadgety.
You putting your shadow on you.
That's okay. Batman was very gadgety, which is perfectly fine. A lot of people didn't like the fact that he used guns, but that's okay. Flash was good. You know, the Trident, that was cool. His pitchfork.
Even that scene when Steppenwolf went to Atlantis, and we saw what's her name for the first time, Mara. Yeah, I thought that scene was cool. Speaking of Mara, I don't know in the animated the second Justice League movie, when they introduced Aquaman for the first time, Mara, how she said in this movie, like the live action, she was just like, you know, you're your mother's son, and I was by her side. It was very comparable to in the Atlantis Justice League movie, where they didn't touch on it in the live action, but in the animated spoilers, he's half man and half Atlantean, and he basically grew up with his father. And so, but she was saying like, you're your people or something.
Yeah, and you were meant to rule these people.
Yeah, it was very similar. That's exactly what happened in an animated movie. Like you're the rightful heir to the throne type thing. So I thought that was a nice touch to that.
Well, I guess that's a prelude to when the Aquaman movie comes out.
To bring back Lord of the Rings, that's very Aragorn-esque.
Yes.
Like the king,
the rightful king. He's like a rogue ranger type.
Yeah, he's like, now he's out in the world, and he's just like roaming the world, and like not like assuming his responsibility and all that. Yes. Yeah, I actually did like that as well. I thought that was kind of like the king who won.
You know what? The thing is, it's like they brought that in right away. In the Lord of the Rings, there was a build-up. You know, 3 movies.
Right, before he finally assumed the throne. I mean, he hasn't assumed the throne yet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we assume, man, he's gonna finally step up.
Yeah, Atlantean people are rebuilt or whatever. Because they did say that the Atlanteans were forced back to sea. Diana brought that up. And then she also said that the Amazons couldn't leave their island. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe later on down the line, we'll see in the second or maybe
both
third.
be able to leave their respective areas. When we were talking about the action, I thought there was a lot of cool action in the movie. It was a little, just to bring up some technical aspects, I felt like the pacing was a little off. Just like I felt like moving from scene to scene, it was just like kind of random. It was just like, we're over here with Batman and freaking Commissioner Gordon.
I felt the same way. Yeah. Like the scene where it was like when it was like, all right, there was Victor with his dad.
Right.
Then I think something happened, and it was Barry and his dad in prison. And it was like, I wished we had that in like their solo movies type thing.
So you wouldn't have to even do that in like.
Yeah,
could have saved 20 minutes from the movie.
And then put it more like Justice League focus.
Right.
So it was like their way of like introducing their characters. I mentioned that.
I understand that. Yeah.
And I get it, but it's just like I wish it was, you know, it was more like
that's how they're rushing to catch up to them. They're just throwing everything. All origins are being thrown into one movie, and it's like we get it. They threw Diana in BVS, but when you got her origin movie, obviously that's one of the best one between in DCEU. I think I would honestly at this point I would still pick Wonder Woman over Justice League.
Oh yeah. Oh,
in
there's
terms
like
of overall.
no question
For me,
as well. That Wonder Woman is easily like the best
DCEU because they did that just right.
Yeah.
They didn't do too much. Well, in terms of review for quick, the slow motion thing was just too much for me. But other than that, they could have saved a couple more time from that movie. But it was better than all the other Justice League.
Man of Steel. I love that one too.
I love Man of Steel.
Oh, okay.
Like unabashedly. Like I know a lot of people hate on Man of Steel, but like I
think they hated more on BVS.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. What else
I think one thing I wanted to touch on. I'm not sure if you're a fan of The Flash, the TV show, but
I haven't seen it.
It's the same background story with Barry, where his mother was killed and his father was framed for it.
Okay.
I'm not sure you're gonna watch it. I won't say anything. But I like that touch that they did. I was like getting like it was almost like they copied the TV show, but I didn't mind it. Like I wasn't like get your own background.
There were some people today
really
that were like
oh man, that like it hit a soft spot in my heart. Shout out to the TV Flash show. They did a good job. They did a good. It's season 1.
That's how we learn a lot about Barry.
Yeah,
because of that show. So. Overall, like there's just the reason why I just can't compare. Like I
keep comparing the Avengers.
Yeah, it's just there was too many random stuff. I feel like it could have been written better. The origins were just so random. Like here's the Flash. This is how he comes about. Here's Aquaman. Here's how he comes about, and they're just very important members of the league. And you can't like treat them like a Clint and Natasha Romanoff. You know, so Romanoff was gradually brought into the MCU through Iron Man. Yeah. Clint was really briefly brought in Thor.
But he was there.
But he was there, and he had his arrow, and it's like
I think to add to that, like people make the argument, well, they threw Black Panther in the Civil War movie. But at that point, Marvel already established like all their main characters, like the Avengers, and it was like
that was one guy
exactly.
Compared to like 3.
Yeah, and
completely.
Truth be told, before like Marvel started like blowing up with like these movies, like I barely knew anything about Black Panther. Like I'll be honest, like I knew more about like the more mainstream like Iron Man and all that. Whereas in the DC world, like I know the Flash, I know Cyborg, I know Aquaman, and it's like they said, it's just random and rushed.
Another thing that I thought was like a little weird, different from like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman. I felt like the cinematography was a little like.
Well, the CGI was fucking terrible.
The CGI was not.
And I knew it was going to be like that because the first meeting with Wonder Woman and Cyborg in that makeshift city that they had, I was like, that's fucking cardboard. Like, they couldn't go Chicago
green screen.
Yeah, and to add to that, when Lois and Clark were in the fields, I'm like, dude, this is like a 6th grade.
Like somebody in 6th grade fucking drew that sky.
Like, no, well, it is disrespect, but it's like, I mean,
come on, man, it's Justice League. Come on.
Did you guys know that for reshoots, Henry Cavill, he's currently shooting Mission Impossible 6. He has a big burly mustache in it.
I was seeing this,
They CGI'd his mustache out. It looked very noticeable to me. I don't know if you guys. Like,
I didn't know.
But it looked. I was like, what's wrong? Why is his upper lip not moving?
Okay. I'm happy you brought that up because I saw comments on that on the social media, and for guys like us, we did not notice that.
I didn't notice
we
that.
We were still in all the Superman was in the movie that
But
it
that's a
didn't
good
get
eye.
that. For someone who can catch it, like I can understand why
That
it bothers
is
me.
funny.
It just looks like, because I just sort of felt like if you're gonna do reshoots with Superman, don't do close-ups. Like, shoot it far. You could definitely erase out the mustache probably a bit better. But I mean, that's just a minor nit to pick. It's not like a huge thing that's gonna bring down.
But like you look at the very last action sequence.
It's like all CGI.
It is,
much, right?
but it's a shitty CGI compared to New York City CGI. You know, buildings falling in Chitauri all over the place. The buildings look like buildings, and Iron Man looks like he's flying through garages and shit. Not like freaking orange sky. That's
that's like you're like,
it looks like a doomsday, pretty much. Did you notice that Darkseid was referenced in the movie?
What part?
Oh, there's something about the mother thing. Oh, and Darkseid. End scene.
Oh yeah, I think I did.
I heard that. I was like,
It's
referenced him.
Right.
I was
Just like very
That's it.
briefly.
That was too much, you know.
Yeah.
When they brought Clark back for the first time, and they were trying to calm him down when Diana was like Kal-El.
Yeah.
How do you know his name? They met for the first time in BVS, and they didn't even say, "Oh, hey, I'm Superman." It's just it's under yeah,
I'm
you're
Diana.
Superman.
I'm Kal-El. That never happened.
Right.
That's one thing that in the movie I was like, how's she know? Okay, whatever. It's still a cool scene. But then I'm thinking about it like, no, come on, guys. Like, yeah.
If I had to guess, maybe Batman's got files or whatever. But I don't know
That's
how
true.
Batman would even find out his name was Kal-El.
But then again, it is Batman. It's Bruce Wayne, the greatest detective.
Yeah.
So, but he was going through like,
Kal-El.
Kal-El.
True. Yeah, the first time she ever met him, they were fighting.
Yeah, Doomsday.
So
and then he died.
Like, yeah, so it's kind of weird that.
It's not like in his dying, but oh, by the way, my name is Kal-El.
It is kind of weird that like they have like she expected like him to like react to her calling him Kal-El. It's like I don't know who the fuck you are. Like,
he even did make a face, but that like. It didn't bother me enough during the movie, but then after the movie, I was
thinking
like,
about
How do you know him? How do you know his name?
And then another thing I didn't have it written down, but it's like I can understand the world coming to terms with, oh, Superman's back to life because he's a superhero. But this guy, Clark, is walking back in wherever he is. So like Clark, yo, bro!
They had a funeral for Clark Kent too.
Yeah!
So now it's like Clark Kent is back to how are you gonna explain that shit?
I'm like, I can understand Superman, but
now Clark is back.
Yeah, it's like, what?
Yeah,
that's a good point. I did not think of
yeah. So that's just another like, oh, writers, can you just mention that in the next movie? Like,
He got pissed off.
JK.
He got pissed off at me last night because the movie was coming to an end, and it showed Lois going back to computer, going back to her old, really good reporter ways.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, what if she types missing pilot at Ferris wheel?
I was getting like, dude, stop ruining it, stop.
Green Lantern reference.
In Teen Titans, Cyborg's thing was booyah,
Oh,
and he said
so
that.
he says it.
Yeah, oh man, the little kid in me jumped.
Shit.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for that, writers. Yay, thank you.
There's like a lot of people who are like, who try to defend like Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, this movie's for the fans, critics don't understand, critics have never read a comic book, blah, blah, blah. But what do you feel about people saying, oh, this movie is just for the fans? Is it really like, the only way you can enjoy this is if you know all the characters? That's not really like...
I feel like if you watch this movie, you have a broad idea of who these characters are.
Right. That's pretty much where I'm coming from. Like, I know Batman, I know Superman, I know Wonder Woman.
Right.
I don't know their deeper backstories and all that stuff, but I have a general idea of who they are. When you start going Darkseid, Steppenwolf, like Mera, all this other stuff, like, I don't know all that as well, so I'm not gonna geek out when I see them or anything like that. I'm not gonna get like that rush.
Yeah.
Do you sort of feel that's a good point of view to come at it from? Like, you need to be a comic book fan?
Well, you don't necessarily... Well, see, there's different perspectives when you watch these movies, you know what I mean? When you know their backstory, when you have somewhat looked at their comics, when you watch their TV shows, the cartoons and their animated movies, you have a better sense of like a connection to those characters.
You have a built-in connection.
Yes,
to
like
those
you already
characters.
know who they are, and when they put it on big screen, when they put it in a motion picture, when they put it with actors that are portraying these heroes, there's a deeper connection and a deeper appreciation. That's the word. There's a deeper appreciation for the fact that what you know and appreciate is being put on the movie screen.
I think that brings my point to the beginning where like if you don't know much about it, like you could still enjoy it, but you won't be able to appreciate it. Like how we fangirl the shit out of this because we have a background of it.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like Marvel's ahead of like of DC. Because like even though people don't like read the comics, like there's still like solo movies like that built up to the Avengers.
So you get to know.
Yeah, that you haven't just even like the slightest idea of them.
That's why.
So that's why it's like Marvel. Like even though I'm enjoying like I enjoyed Justice League, I enjoyed Wonder Woman, I enjoyed BVS and Man of Steel, Marvel's still ahead in that department of where the fans can appreciate the culmination of everything because they had the solo movies that
even
it's like
the
foundation.
But also non-fans can still like.
I'll give you a perfect example, and you guys are gonna rip me an asshole with this.
I probably.
You see that guy? Aang?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I watched the movie before I watched the animated series. And I'm like, yo, this is a good movie. I don't know what everyone's talking about. I like this kid. I watched the animated series, and I said, holy shit, that movie sucked. How did they squeeze one season into an hour and a half?
Right.
So like, as a casual moviegoer, if you could appreciate the movie, by all means, appreciate it. Just know, if you're not familiar, don't be upset if you don't have a deeper appreciation as much as the fans that are familiar with it. Because like my dumbass, I liked Avatar before I saw the Avatar Last Airbender series, and then I watched Avatar. I was like, oh,
that was trash.
Oh, that might be one of the most worst movies I've ever seen.
Or if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan and you watch Dragon Ball
Oh no! What? Why you had to bring that?
Yeah, that was bad.
Oh my god.
True. That's true.
So, I mean, so like to your point, like I think it's almost unfortunate, honestly, that
you have to kind of
to enjoy it more. Yeah, to enjoy it more because it's the movie. They're not the greatest, but they're not Avatar. They're not Dragon Ball. They're still enjoyable in that way, but like we fangirled over those things, so like that made us appreciate like all the DC movies.
Okay.
So
Darkseid is one of like the big bad guys of DC, kind of like Apocalypse or Thanos in Marvel. You know, so.
Okay. Any other movie talk? Because I want to get into that.
Alright, no, the post-credits.
Oh my god!
See what I mean? Yeah.
Oh my god.
When you see the swords,
I had a heart attack.
and when you see the bandana,
I had a myocardial infarction. Oh my god.
Nursing students, I don't know. Nurses.
See, this is where I sort of feel like that disconnect between like the super fans
Check it
versus
out.
like I generally know it.
A perfect analogy. Deadpool to Marvel.
Right,
that was essentially Deathstroke, and he is probably one of the coolest badasses in the DC universe. And he's portrayed in the shows. He's portrayed in a couple of animated series. He's portrayed in even Teen Titans. And is it Teen Titans? Yes, Teen Titans.
Oh my god.
Young Justice.
Oh, he's in everything.
He's in Young Justice, and it's like the fact that he's on screen and he looks good. The costume is good. He's got the swords. He's got the charisma and the mercenary. Like, this better not be. Don't be wasting my time, Luther.
So to give you a general idea, it's like I don't know, like in the DC like comic facts, like Deathstroke is like the only person like that's not like that doesn't have superpowers that can go toe to toe with Batman, and like Batman's like one of the greatest fighters and everything. He's like the only human that's gone toe to toe and like it's like even.
Take him on.
Yeah. And then for me, watching the Teen Titans show, he was like the main villain through all the seasons. Yeah. His name wasn't Deathstroke because it was a kid's show. His name was Slade, but it was still the same like orange thing. And then we're fans of the Arrow TV show, and he was he was a prominent villain in that show.
Season 2 of Arrow.
Yeah. And then ironically, you still have to watch the most recent Arrow episode.
I do, yeah.
Like the conflict where like if it's on a TV show, you kind of lose the rights when it goes to the movie. So there was like a little like homage to Slade in this most recent episode where it was like, it wasn't a farewell, but it was just like,
oh, you
I'll see you when I see you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see. It was like a moment where it was just like, if I watched that episode before the Justice League movie, I probably would have had a heart attack. Spoilers for the Arrow people. The Suicide Squad was originally in the Arrow show, but when they came out with the movie and it was in production, they kind of had to slowly like cut it off and like remove it from the show because like they lost the rights or copyright stuff. That's a whole nother topic.
It's like a DC Civil War.
So seeing Slade Wilson in live action and the film in the post-credit scene was like, oh my god.
Oh, and the fact that they're making their own.
Yeah, the Legion of Doom. That's like equivalent. It's like the reverse Justice League or the Injustice League. And and like in the cartoon show and I think Young Justice, like there's like another Arrowverse show. It's called Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Another awesome show. They had their own Legion of Doom. So just like,
but they had picked villains from the shows.
Yeah.
And put them in they became the predominant villains of that show, Legends of Tomorrow, because they're all under the same umbrella of shows. Yeah. Of the storyline. They call it the Arrowverse. They're all within the Arrowverse. But like in I think it was Young Justice. You know, you had guys like Bane and Joker and a lot of the Batman villains. Plus, was the Reverse Flash in it?
In the Young Justice show, I'm not sure.
No,
but in the Legends show,
yeah.
Spoilers.
Reverse Flash is like a yellow suit, and he is a. Well, I forgot to add that.
I was gonna add that towards the end.
Like the Barry Allen, like the Speed Force.
Yeah.
Speed Force is how he gets his speed and powers and shit. Like, I like that Speed Force versus the Arrowverse. Like Justin, that one is like. I feel like how I feel with when I watch the Justice League, the shows and shit. I was like, oh, that's really.
I like
Speed
that.
Force.
Too.
Oh, cheers.
Speed Force.
There we go. Speed Force.
Yeah.
Flash. Speed Force. Shouts to my boy Josh.
Although maybe it's not as good on the TV show because they don't got as much money.
Yeah, that's that. I'm able to enjoy both.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much for us to like enjoy things. So like both of them, I was still able to enjoy. Speaking of that, now we're going. I'm kind of deviating away from Justice League, even though I really want to talk about it. When we saw Barry Allen and his dad being in prison, and then he brought up the point like the Flash solo movie is going to be Flashpoint. So basically, what that is, it might seem like a spoiler, but it's very well known. In Flashpoint, basically, how they mentioned Barry Allen's mom like died, he basically goes back in time and saves her and from dying. But when he returns to the future, it's a whole nother reality. It's a whole nother world, and that's because he saved his mom, and his mom's alive now. Like, so let's say like his mom died like 25 years ago. When he goes back 25 years, saves her, he goes back 25 years later, and he's like, it's in a different world. And in the Flashpoint Paradox animated movie, the Amazonians and Atlanteans were at war.
I mentioned this too.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So like, and then I remember seeing somewhere that Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa were confirmed for the Flash movie. So I think they're really going for that they're really going for like that comic book-esque Flashpoint. So I wanted to mention that.
Even that movie with the Flash and that Flashpoint Paradox, that was one of the best DC put-togethers I've ever seen. Because the Batman in it isn't Bruce Wayne.
It's Thomas Wayne.
It's Thomas Wayne.
That's his father.
And he's got like the red eyes. He almost seems like a bad Batman. It's like,
and then the Joker in that reality is Martha Wayne, is Bruce's mom. That's so twisted and fucked up. Yeah. So and we talk about the animated shows, and it's almost like, even though like if I had to grade like all the DCEU movies versus DC animated movies, I'd side towards the animated movies as like all together. But I still love Man of Steel and Wonder Woman more than all the animated movies. It's just Suicide Squad and BVS are like below.
That's absolutely right. The Marvel movies, obviously it's a landslide, but I do say that that DC has way better animated movies than Marvel, without a doubt. Killing Joke and Flashpoint Paradox and War. Absolutely, no contest. So yeah,
it is just a little interesting to see how like Marvel is kind of lapping DC as far as like the mainstream popularity. Like, how do you guys like feel about that? Because like you said, you guys are huge fans, so obviously you're gonna be into like all this stuff. I feel like a certain kind of magic that Marvel has, that they can cater to hardcore fans, but also appeal to people who don't know so much about Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor and all that.
They do fall under Disney so
umbrella.
Marketing is just easy to them. It's like pocket change to be able to show the world, like, hey, they're kind of brainwashing. Go watch this movie. It's really good. They're associated with the MCU. Who are the Guardians? I don't know. They're part of. They're gonna fight Thanos. Like, aren't the Avengers gonna fight Thanos? What if they're in a movie together? Well done, Disney.
I think another thing that's worth mentioning is like, growing up, I never had any Marvel shows. But like once the Marvel shows started, once Marvel movies started coming out, these Marvel shows started to come up on like Nickelodeon and Disney, and these kids are watching this. And then if you just think about it even more, like when the kids see that there's a live action movie, they're gonna want to watch it. And then when their parents watch it, they're like, oh wow, this is actually enjoyable. So it almost makes it like a family thing, and a family like experience when they go to the movies. So I feel like that gives. I'm not sure about any DC like animated shows right now. There's a Young Justice was canceled, and like there's these other shows, but I don't think it's as compelling as what Marvel's doing. That's just me thinking like.
But if they're like, let's say if it's a generational thing. Let's say somebody in World War II read the comics of Captain America or Superman, let's say, and they pass it to the son, and the son passes it to his kid. That's almost 3 to 4 generations that could be watching a movie right there between Captain America or Superman. So people don't realize how the impact that these heroes can have on people when, especially back in the day when social media wasn't out. They pick up a comic and it puts them in another world. Like people could exist, and Superman. You look at Superman, he gives them hope that there's always a way to win, kind of type. Or Captain America can slay the demon of Adolf Hitler.
It's just odd to me that like it seems like Marvel's got like the formula, the hit making formula down, but it's just like DC is like they're not able to like capture the same kind of essence or make movies that it seems like most people will enjoy. It's like, oh, you gotta be a fan. I just wonder why. It just seems like they're having such trouble kickstarting their own universe.
Because you look at Marvel, and then also like even Star Wars, because Star Wars falls under the Disney umbrella. They're all over the place, and it's hard to not avoid it and be like, you see something, it's like, oh, I'll go watch Star Wars. Whether you're a casual fan or a new fan, Marvel has just been. I think because they were first with Iron Man,
this like cinematic,
and they just took off with it, and now DC is just playing catch up, and even their marketing is just not as. You have to be really, like either a really hardcore movie fan or a comic fan to know, oh, it's coming out, you can't miss it, and you pretty much know. Versus, Marvel, they have so much more marketability. It's hard for DC to compete with their marketability, I guess.
Yeah, because I just find it weird that like it's looking like from projections that a Justice League movie with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman is gonna open lower than the third Thor movie. You know what I mean? Like that's just a little weird to me.
Yeah, numbers don't lie. Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't do a Thor review. We meant to.
I was busy with school.
I legit was like, hey, we'll do it tomorrow. He'd be like, all right. Tomorrow came, we never did it. Oh, we'll do it today. Today came, we never did it. I was like, shit. Oh, what about tomorrow? I'm working. I got school. So we're trying, and it probably won't happen. If it happens, it happens. If not, anything else? Closing remarks. Overall,
what's the next DC movie coming out?
I'm not sure. Is it Aquaman?
That's what I thought.
I don't know.
It's either Aquaman or
Batman.
Is that still in production?
I think it's. They're not even shooting yet, right?
Yeah.
That might be 2019.
I think that's another reason why I was surprised to see Deathstroke.
Yeah, because Ben Affleck was like already iffy.
I'm trying to get out of this.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
I like him as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He's not a bad.
I do too.
I don't know. People just don't like him, and I think that's what's driving him off.
Yeah.
I think he's realizing that DC is just not doing too well.
And he's like, I'm trying to hop off the ship.
Yeah, man.
Like,
He had the cameo in Suicide Squad with Deadshot, and now it's like, I don't even want to do this movie anymore because everybody was just gonna go watch for Deathstroke. They don't want to see me.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good point. Like,
I would.
Yeah,
Sorry, man.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, I'm writing and directing it, and then he was like, oh, I'm not gonna direct it if there's not a good script, and then he's like, I'm not directing anymore. So then I was like,
I saw that. I was like,
yeah, but I do like Matt Reeves, the new director. He did
okay.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the
Okay.
Planet of the Apes. So, I mean, I think he's a good creative mind to help Batman. But yeah, I'm just kind of sad that he's like so ready to go. I'm like, man.
I think this just goes to show what you're saying about how Marvel is versus DC, because you know we just watched Justice League, and I'm not even like, the truth is I'm not even excited for those movies,
like,
because now like the next movie I'm actually looking forward to is Black Panther. Right. So
yeah,
you would think after watching
their
Justice
releases
League,
are like so far apart. That
you would think after watching Justice League, oh, I can't wait for Flashpoint Paradox. I can't wait for Aquaman movie.
Yeah,
I was like,
Aquaman
no,
is,
Black Panther's coming out in a few months.
That's what I'm
There's actually Star Wars coming out next month.
And yeah.
Yes.
A lot of exciting.
It's a good time to be a movie fan.
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
And if you're not, I feel bad for you.
You don't know what you're missing.
You don't know what you're missing. So yeah, I think that might be it.
Yeah, I thought it was a step up from Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, both of which.
Sorry guys, I don't think it's as good as Wonder Woman.
Oh, for
You
sure.
don't need to apologize for that.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
and that's coming from someone who had doubts about Gal Gadot. I'm Rob. That's John.
Aldrin.
San Fran meets New York. He's here on vacation.
It was fun.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
If you actually go to our War of the Planet of the Apes and you read the comments there, that's actually him.
Yeah.
Who was making those comments, probably from Washington.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, he was still Washington at the time. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I don't know when we'll be back. If some nice trailer comes upon, we'll do a reaction, and yeah.